All right. Thank you all for joining this meeting. My name is Rachel and I am the CSM for Conejo Simi. The purpose of this training is to potentially show you again how to navigate through the BrokerBay platform, how to claim your account, and also configure your listings. Couple things to note before we dive into this is that this training is recorded and a link of the recording is going to be emailed to everyone that registered. You will get an email from Zoom tomorrow. So if you do need to leave early, that is okay. We will make sure that you have all the resources that you need in your email, even if you don't fully attend the trainings. If you need technical support or you're running into any issue at all, we have a phenomenal team that is always ready to help. They can be accessed via phone or email, and I have all of the details showing up on the screen right now. We also have our Q&A open today. I have one of my colleagues on this call who is going to be helping with the Q&A. So if you have any questions throughout the process of this training, just kindly shoot your question in the chat. If you also have any technical questions, as I said earlier, our support team is the best avenue for you, and the details is just right on the screen. Okay, moving forward. Some things to quickly note. BrokerBay has already been available in your marketplace for a while now. SSO Link is live through your MLS provider, Flex MLS, or you can also log in through this platform. The goal for today, again, is to show you how you can potentially claim your account through BrokerBay and also go in to configure your listing. Now, once you're logged into your service provider, which is Flex MLS, you can or you should be navigating to menu. On that menu, you see products. You would be able to see the BrokerBay button on there and you can click onto it. Clicking into that allows you to claim your account, which means you're able to set up your account. You're able to also set up your listings, as all of your listings would be already pulled into BrokerBay as soon as you log in. Here is an example of how to access BrokerBay via Flex MLS. Once logged in and you go to menu right here, you can see products and you are able to click into BrokerBay. The steps that you will go through to log into your account is seen below here. If this is your first time of logging in or actually clicking into that BrokerBay button on Flex MLS, you'll be navigated through the steps to set up your account, create your account, and once logged in, you would be directed to your dashboard right here. As I've said earlier, this is sort of the process or the steps you would take once you click that BrokerBay button through Flex MLS. And once you've been able to fully set up your account, all of your listings is automatically pulled into BrokerBay and you do not need to start adding up your listing. What you do need to do for your listing would be to add access instructions, which we will go through in this training. When you do add access instructions and you want to potentially book a showing on a listing, you would be able to see the BrokerBay button at the top right here. And clicking into it allows you to go directly into the booking link process where you can book a showing. All right, so once you've set up your profile, as previously said, and you've created your credentials, you would have the details to be able to log into the mobile app. You can download the mobile app in the device app store. Something to note is that the BrokerBay mobile app has now been rebranded to the SupraOne app. So when you're logging in or you're trying to download the app, you would be going to your app store or your Google Play to look for SupraOne. Another thing to note is that if for some reason you forget this information and you still go ahead to type BrokerBay in the App Store, the system has already been set up in a way that you would automatically be redirected to the SupraOne app. So if you already have the app, you probably would just be updating the app, as I've said here, as I show you here, or you will be re-downloading the app. Before we dive into the training, I'm just going to quickly show you a couple things that's going on right now in terms of BrokerBay to Supra rebrand transition. So from January 27, we have rebranded, as I said earlier, where the BrokerBay app has now been switched to the SupraOne app. Everything regarding BrokerBay or the app is still intact. The name has just been rebranded to reflect the lockbox access as well. And when you're logging in, typically you would have BrokerBay at the top of the screen here. It has now been switched also to SupraOne, as you see here. Okay, moving forward. Just to reiterate, the name has been updated. So the app name has been updated, the logo and the description has been updated. In your App Store or your Google Play, you would be redirected to SupraOne, or you should be searching for SupraOne when you are about to download the app. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to go ahead to dive into the desktop version and to show you what is expected. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen real quick and perfect. Okay. So right now, if you're logging into the system and you go to www.brokerbay.com, I like to start my trainings from there, as typically that's the starting point for you to be able to access. You can always also sign in. If you don't sign in through the Flex MLS, you're also able to sign in by clicking the sign in button here, and you're able to be redirected to your dashboard that I previously showed you. Our support team is also available. As I've said earlier, you're able to contact our support team either via phone or email, and those information has been previously shared as well. We also, this is what the desktop would look like if, again, you're trying to reach out to either sign in here or to reach out to our support team here. As a reminder, by clicking the sign in button, you would be redirected to login, and your email is your username. And then your once you set up your password, you're going to be redirected to the actual agent's dashboard, which we're going to go through now. Perfect. So this screen, as a lot of you is probably already familiar with, is the Actra Super Showing service. This page you're seeing now is a demo of an agent's dashboard, and this dashboard will act as your live updating to-do list. This page is where you are redirected to when you're logging into the SupraOne, into BrokerBay through the sign in button on your service provider, or by clicking into that sign in button from the from www.brokerbay.com. As I said previously, all of your listings, once you've claimed your account, will be automatically pulled in, as you can see here. So you do not need to manually go into the system to actually pull your listings, as your listings would be automatically generated into BrokerBay once you've signed up. There's a couple actions here that you want to leverage when you obviously pull when your listings are pulled in. Any relevant information that you have on your listings are also pulled in. And an example would be going into any of this listing right here. It already has all of the details of that listing. So again, you do not need to manually have to impute any of this information. As you can see, we have all of the listing details already showing up here. For the purpose of training, we're going to go back into the dashboard right here. And the goal for today is, we're going to pick one of these listings and go ahead to actually configure the listing. This listing, as you can see here, I can easily search for that listing so that I can configure it. The page that you have right now, as an agent, when you have listings that is not configured, you would be seeing this big red banner show up here, which just means that you have listings that are missing access instructions. So for example, if you're a new agent that is accessing, the platform and your listings have been pulled in, you would see obviously more than one listing here because you probably have more than one listings that you have not added access instructions to. In this case, as the listing agent, I only have one listing and we're going to go ahead to configure that listing. In order to search that, I can easily go in here and search that listing out. Perfect. Diving in, as you see at the top screen, there's a blue bar that shows up that says showing settings are not configured. Kindly configure showings right here. This is the manual step we will be going through today to be adding showing instructions to the listing. Once that is completed, you can obviously now go into your booking link to go ahead and start booking showings on that listing. Now, in order to configure the showings, this listing, we can easily click into configure showing right here. Perfect. I'm going to go to quickly check if there's any questions. Okay, no questions right now. Perfect. For the configuration screen, we have kind of broken this page into 3 sections. The first section is the actual showing settings and agent instructions for accessing the property, which is right here, showing settings. The second section is what we call managing listing contacts, which is down here. And the third section would be the showing availabilities and restriction, which is the setting up of the days, time, and week that agents can actually book into the property. Again, we're going to start from the top to be able to go through each of this process and to be able to actually show you how to configure your listing. The first option that we have here is showing settings, and we usually start here because it says minimum showing notice. Minimum showing notice is here is how you can set up how many hours or minutes in advance before an appointment time or before you're notified of a showing on your listing. Minimum showing notice just means that any hours that is imputed here, you want to be notified prior to your showing. So in this case, we have 1 hour. It just means that high as the listing agents needs up to an hour showing notice before a showing can be accepted or denied on this listing. I can also go ahead and change this to 2 hours. And it just means that if a showing is needed to be done at 12 p.m., there would need to be a notice sent in from 10 a.m. or earlier. For the purpose of training, we're going to leave that at 1 hour. There's also the option to choose overnight notice. This is if you want an overnight notice on your listing before a booking is done on that, a showing is done on that listing. Again, for the purpose of showing, if you click this, it just means that I need an overnight notice before a showing is done. But for the purpose of training, we're going to go ahead and just select this. The next thing we have here is maximum showing duration. Maximum showing duration is how long the showing would be for. How long do you want your property to be viewed for when an agent comes in with their client? So 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or 1 hour, depending on how big or what type of showing of listing you have. So for the purpose of training, we're going to keep that at 30 minutes. You also have overlapping showing. What this means is that you can allow overlapping showing on your property in case it's a big property and you want multiple agents to be able to show the listing at once. If you go ahead and turn this on, you also have the option to select how many overlapping showings per viewings do you want to have. So if it's 2, 3, 4, 5, or if you just want it to be no limit, you can also select that. If you by any chance select an overlapping showing for your listing, I think it is important that you notify agents regarding overlapping showings so they are aware of so they are aware to know if there's another agents coming in with their clients. For the purpose of training, we're going to turn this off, but this is how you know that you can totally allow overlapping showings if need be. Perfect. Moving forward, we're going to look into who should approve showings. It is important to know if you're leveraging the showing service by default. So you, as the listing agent, would always be automatically pulled into the listing. So when you've claimed your account and your listing pulls in, because you're the listing agent, you would automatically be pulled in here. We have seller slash contacts to confirm, and you are already a contact on that listing. However, let's say your seller also wants to be notified on what's going on your listing. They want to be added into the details going on the listing. You can easily also go ahead and add a buyer or a seller in this case into well, a seller or a tenant or a landlord into that listing. So I'm going to scroll down here to show you how you can add a seller if your seller needs to be added onto the listing. Or in this case, it could be a contact, it could be a landlord or a tenant that needs to be added on your listing. In order to do that, we're going to scroll down right here. Because I am the listing agent on this property, I am automatically pulled in. But if you want to integrate sellers to have permission to approve a showing, you just go ahead and click add contact right here. Perfect. Now, obviously, you're adding a seller. You want to include their details. So let's say it's Joe Doe. And you also go ahead to add their email address. Now, of course, if the seller wants to be notified via email, you want to click that. You can also click the send SMS if they want to be notified via SMS as well. You can set the seller up to, receive SMS or text notification. Or if you also want that seller to be called before a showing is actioned, which means before a showing is accepted or denied, you can also click that button right here. If you select must call, you want to obviously add their details in here. But for the purpose of training, we're going to click this off and just select that they be given an SMS as well as an email regarding any information on this listing. We have send notification on the right side of the screen here. What this means is that when you add a contact, it is important to understand what notification they get. So do you want that seller or that contact that you've added to get a notification when it's booked, confirmed, canceled, denied, or time change? You can easily click all of this depending on your preference. If you also want them to have a reminder, you can click that. If you want feedback to be collected, and you want the seller to see the feedback that is collected, you can also check this on. But we typically like to turn this off because you obviously do not want your sellers to get feedback that are not totally favorable to them. So you as an agent can go ahead and filter the feedbacks that you receive as opposed to just having them receive any feedback that the showing agent sends off. So again, you can turn this off. Let's see here, Q&A. Do you have to use this email feature for notification or just SMS? You can use the email feature for notification or just SMS. It just depends on what your seller would like in this case. So in this case, I can easily go ahead and turn this off if I don't want to send SMS. But if I do want to send SMS, they would need to be added onto send email and also send SMS as well if I want them to receive both. Now, under these permissions, what do you want them to be able to do? What do you want the seller or the contacts that you have just added? What do you want them to be able to do? In this case, do you want them to be able to confirm a showing or to also deny a showing? In most cases, you just have your seller on there so they know what's going on in terms of the activities. So you can turn this off if you need to, or you can turn it on. But in this case, let's say we don't want to give the seller the permission to confirm or deny. We just want them to be able to get updates when it's booked, confirmed, canceled, denied, time change. We want those information. So now that we've added our seller, we're going to go ahead and save this contact. Perfect. So that is saved. If for any reason you do need to update the information that you've added and you now want your seller, for example, to be able to confirm or deny, or you want to change the again the notification that they get, you can easily click edit button here. That takes you back into here and you can confirm what their permission is or what notification you want them to receive. If you also want to remove that seller, you can easily click on delete right here and that seller will be taken off of your listing if you want that. Okay, we're going to scroll back up to continue with the showing settings. It says auto confirm or showing right here. So let's say you're representing a vacant property and you want to set it up as, go and show. You can do that by clicking the auto confirm button. The purpose of this is that it takes the manual action of having to approve a showing request. And by doing this, you're able to have showings done on your listing without having to confirm or deny that showing for that listing. The last option that we have here is listing agents to confirm. This is similar to the first option we have here because as I said earlier, listing agents will always be pulled in. So if you don't want to add your seller, you can easily just click listing agent. But the reason why we're clicking this is because it makes a lot of sense. You're already a contact as a listing agent, and this allows you to add a seller if need be. The next option on this page is admin instructions. Admin instruction is the internal instructions for you as a listing agent and your brokerage admin team because they're the only ones that would have access to this box. So let's say you want to advise your admin team not to have any showings after 10 p.m. You can always include it here, no showings after 10 p.m. Again, this is internal notes to communicate with your team as to how you want to manage the showings for the listing. The next thing that we have here is the access information. The access information is how the agent is going to access your property. So there are a couple drop down options that we have here. You can decide to go direct. If you don't go, you can decide to go direct, which means there's no lockbox or combination box needed. You can also do a key code where you would have to impute the key code right here if need be. Or you could just do key if that's it and you want to put an instruction of where the key is. If you have a lockbox with Supra, you would have that option right here to be able to select or add a lockbox as your access type. For the purpose of training, we're going to keep it as direct right here. Perfect. And now scrolling down, you're also able to select what information or what you want your showing agents to do before leaving that property. So do you want them to turn off the lights? Do you want it to take off their shoes, leave card if need be, lock doors? These are specific instructions for your showing agents after seeing the property. If you need to add more information, you can also go in here and add more information as well. Okay, moving forward. The next thing we have here is virtual showing right here. Virtual showing is how you can show your property without obviously having to be there. It's very easy because you're able to actually show your property in a 3D virtual way, as opposed to being in the property or going there with your clients. If you do have a virtual showing for your listing, you just easily have to turn this on. Supra integrates with three tour guide, which is either Matterport, iGuide, or Real Vision. So you can easily select one of that. And then you can go ahead to embed that virtual tour link here, and you will not be able to validate if the link is not accurate. You would not be able to validate that link. Okay, just give me one sec. I'm trying to adjust my screen here. Oh, my bad. Just one second, guys. My screen just went off. Okay, perfect. Here we are. Okay, moving forward, We have seen obviously how to add a new contact if need be. So you can easily, if you have a core, if you are co-listing this property with another agent, you can also add their contact on here if need be as well. But right now you have been shown how to obviously add a contact, how to remove the contact if need be, or how to edit their preference. The next thing on this page would be showing availabilities and restriction. This is where you can set up the days and the time of the week that an agent can book on the property, which means the property will not be available for whenever days you set it off, and it will be available for the days you set it on. It also allows you to block off, a certain time of the day. For example, let's say your seller tells you that they will not be available on Mondays, 7 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. You can easily go in here and restrict that, which means there would not be a showing. You would not be able to book a showing on this property every Monday between 7 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Again, if that applies to, let's say, multiple times of the days in the week, you can easily go, say, on Thursday, 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. We're not going to be available. You can also click that as well. Just be aware that whatever you set up right now is on a weekly schedule. So this would go translate further into each week. We can turn this off. Now, we have special days available. Special days allows you to block off a certain day in the future, depending on obviously your clients and what information you've received. So let's say you want to block off, or your clients tells you to block off let's say the 20th of February, they would not be available, which is on a Friday, and you cannot book a showing on those dates. You can easily select that day right here, and it's restricted. What this means is that special days will always override weekly schedule. So regardless of the fact that on Fridays, it's available, on this particular Friday, the 20th, you will not be able to make a booking on this showing because it's been restricted right here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and switch that. Obviously, turn this off because we're not having a virtual showing. Okay, so as I've said, you can easily select or restrict whatever days and time you want to restrict depending on the information you get, as this is listing specific. Let's say they also want to have another special day coming up, say on the 5th of March, they're not going to be available, or there's a wedding going on in the property and they just want you to turn that day off. Or let's say they would only be available from 7 to 10 a.m., but the rest of those days they would not be available. Again, this is specific to a special day and it is not reflective of what happens in the weekly schedule. So once you've set this up, you can also auto confirm on a certain day. So you can easily go in here and select another special day, stay on the 10th, add, and you can go ahead and auto confirm this particular days if need be. The beauty of this showing availabilities and restriction is that it allows you to set it up as granular as possible based off of what your clients want, or based off of what is applicable to your listing in that moment. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and save this, as you want to save so you do not lose whatever information you set up here. So I'm going to go ahead and save. That is just loading. Okay, perfect. Now, after saving that, if for some reason you do want to change some information that you've added in your showing configuration, you can easily come in here into edit listing right here. And you can go into showings configuration right here. Go OK. And you're able to come back in here to make some changes based off of the settings that you've done previously. Something to note, or one of my favorite part about this showing service, is that we have a real intentional push to include history logs in this in your listing, which means that it allows you to access any information that has previously been added onto this listing. So at the top right corner here, you can click on View History, and you can see all of the changes that I have done in the past on this listing, as you can see right here. It gives you more information about it, and you're able to actually get granular to see what happened on a certain day, or what happened on a certain on or what did not happen on a certain day. Perfect. We're gonna still go ahead and save right here. All right, and we're gonna go back to our dashboard at the left side of the screen here. Dashboard. Perfect. So as I told you earlier, the listing tab right here allows you to see all of your listings, any listings that you have or that needs to be configured. You can see that here. You can also go into the search, the engine bar here, to be able to make changes to your listings configuration if need be. The next tab on this screen, on this dashboard, is the showings tab, and this would include all of your upcoming buyer and listing showing. Again, as I've said previously, it does act as your live to-do list. So if you want to reference a showing that has been booked prior, you can do that by clicking the showings button here. You're able to see any showings that has been previously done on those listings right here. If a tour was booked, you can see that. You're able to get those information right here. You're also able to switch to your listings right here. And this shows you all of the showings that has previously been done or that has been previously requested on your listing. So you see what time it was requested, who confirmed it, who is the agent on that showing. And also if a feedback was received, you would be able to see that here, as well as viewing more details on that listing. Again, this page is really broken down between buyer and listing agents. So you can use this showings tab at the end of the month if you want to maybe calculate your mileage or calculate what you did throughout the month in terms of showing. Another thing to look at here is that you are also able to search for a particular showing, a particular listing that you're looking for if you don't have it here, for example, or if you have a much more longer page that shows up right here. You're also able to filter by date. You're able to filter by status. So what status of listings are you looking for? Is it a new listing, attempted, confirmed, denied, canceled? You're able to see that here. Another thing you're also able to do is you can live sync your showings to your calendar by selecting which of this calendar you want to integrate with. So if you select Google, iCloud, Outlook, or Office 365, it would sync all of your schedules within BrokerBay into your calendar, and you wouldn't need to manually have to impute those information again. Of course, after doing that, if you do want to print out this page, you're able to print out the page. You're also able to export it out into a PDF. We have the option to cancel showings here, but it's usually, you're obviously not going to want to cancel all your showings unless you have showings here and you want to mass cancel all your showings. That's when you would be needing this button. Perfect. We're going to go back again to the dashboard right here, and we're going to scroll down to the task tab right here. The task tab creates a list of action items that needs to be completed by the agent. So let's say you have a listing that has been requested, a showing has been requested on your listing. This is where you're going to get that, and this is where you'll be able to see to accept, deny, or cancel. If you have any feedback on your listing, this is also where you would be able to see those feedback as well. In terms of duplicates, if you do have any duplicate listing that shows up, like any duplicate property that comes in, this is where you see it. And what that means is, let's say you had a listing on your a listing on here and they expired, and you want to go ahead to add a new add that listing again. If that listing shows up twice in your system or in your dashboard, this is how you're going to know that you have those two listings, which means you can either delete one or go ahead and merge those two together if need be. Okay, moving forward, we're going to look at the contact tab. The contacts tab is what we call your virtual phone book. This is where you can put all of your clients' details, including tenants or any clients that you have on a particular property. The first tab that we have here is your client. Of course, any seller that has been previously added, this is where you're going to see those clients. So let's say I recently just added JODO. You can see that in here. I also recently added a seller. You can see that in here as well. Suppliers is also the same thing. If you have a supplier, or if you as an agent, you're using a particular supplier, such as stagers, photographers, or if maybe even plumber or electrician, you're able to add their information here for easy access. And let's say you don't have that information here and you now want to add it, you can easily go here and you can do supplier, select what type of supplier they are, and go ahead and add their information right here. Okay, moving forward, we also have My Brokerage tab. My Brokerage tab is also where you would house all of the contacts of members throughout the brokerage. Okay, I think I have a question. One sec. It would be best if I could just show the showing agents a link to sign up themselves. Well, with this case, you can always send your listings to your showing agents, or your showing agents, once they're trying to book either through BrokerBay or however way they're trying to book, they will be redirected to book a showing here. This is just to show you how you as a listing agent can set up your dashboard, set up your listing, set up access instructions for showings to be able to be done on your listing. Okay, as I've said, this is your brokerage tab. You can also add more information in here. If need be, you can go in here and add. And if you want to add any more information in terms of clients, suppliers, you can do that through here. And this houses all of your agents within your brokerage. You can also click on any of your agents right here to be able to get their information if need be. So you can get their email, their phone number, and you can send them a message directly through the BrokerBay system. If you send a message, they would be receiving that message either through here, or you would see that message through here as well. If you have any new message, this is where they're going to populate. Or if you have and if you want to send a message, you can easily do that by finding their information right here. It's disconnected right now, of course. Okay, moving forward, I'm going to show you how to set up notification, or how to configure your notification. That can be found at the top right corner of your screen right here. And you can go in and click notification settings. Perfect. Okay. So the first option you have here is the buyer showing updates. The notification tabs here allows you to set up defaults. So you can set up defaults for your showings. You can set it up to receive email. You can set it up to receive SMS, or you can set it up to receive both as well. For the purpose of making sure that you're receiving all of your information, it is always advisable to set it up as email and SMS. So that way, if you're getting an SMS, you'll be notified. If you're getting email as well, you will be notified. You also have listings showing updates. This is how you can choose how you want to be notified when showings are requested in your listings or in the listings that you're representing. So you can select email, or you can also select SMS, or select both. Incomplete listing settings. You can choose how you want to be notified if you have incomplete listing settings. This email right here is usually sent out once a week to you if you have listings in your dashboard that have not been configured. So previously I showed you the red banner where you would see listings that are not configured. In order for you to be aware and obviously not forget when you have listings to configure, if you set this up, you will get an email once a week to tell you that you have X number of listings and you should be going in to actually add showing instructions to that listing. Okay, we also have the chat message. Is how do you want to be notified of chat messages, either via email or SMS? If someone wants to send you a message and you obviously you're not on the system, you don't have access to it, you would be getting an SMS or an email saying you have a chat message in your dashboard, and you can easily go in to look through that. Okay, moving forward. At the top of the screen here, right here, you can search for agents, or you can also search for your listings. So let's say I have this listing and I want to contact the agent on that listing. If need be, I can easily go into the three dots and contact that agent, which means I'm sending a message directly to them, which they would be getting through the chat tool. If you also want to go ahead and add a listing as your favorite, or you want to register an offer, you can easily do that by clicking any of this link right here as well. You can also search for listings if you don't have, or you cannot find a particular listings that you're looking for. You can search for that at the top of the screen right here. It's a universal search bar. Couple more things, as I've said, is that you can book showing through this listing, through searching through right here. If you go in and search for a particular listing, so let's say 123 Testing Lane, you can request a showing through here if you are not the listing agent on that listing as well. And of course, you can message them, as I've said previously, you can request a showing or message them as well. You're also able to create tours. Tours allows you to add more than one listing to be able to view. You can add more than one listing. You can add a stop if need be. So we're going to go ahead and do just add a tour if need be right here. So go back, dashboard. Let's say we're searching for this listing. We can go in here and click add to tour and create new tours. Okay, that is just moving forward. Okay, so of course you want to name it, what your tour name is. If it's a tour that you have in a couple of days and you want to be very detailed and very granular, you can go ahead and name that. The date is already included. You also want to add the buyer. If need be, you can also add a buyer. The beautiful thing about creating a tour is that you're also able to add listings to view as well as stops. So when I say stops, let's say you're trying to stop at, your favorite Starbucks on the way, you can click the stop sign here, search Starbucks, and it's going to bring to you any Starbucks that is the closest to you. You can add it onto here. And this way you have created a tour for you to be able to view this listing first and then go to your coffee shop. Or if you want to add your office address right here, you're also able to add that here. This allows you to create a tour and to send that off as a request. Okay, we're going to go back into the dashboard tab here. This is house all of your information in terms of your listing right here. And we're going to look into your account settings again. So in order to go into your account settings, you're going to click on your picture or your initials at the top right corner here. And we're going to go into account settings. Under the account settings, you are looking for listing settings. I'm just waiting for that to load up. Okay, perfect. We're going into listing settings here. And what we're looking for is sort of how to create a default showing configuration onto your listing. So previously, of course, I showed you how to configure your listing. You are also able to add a default showing configuration, which would be represented towards all of your listings. The only information that you need or you would need to impute, which you cannot make it a default, would be the access instructions, as there are several access instructions for several of your listings. But for the purpose of training, let's say you want to create a default showing configuration for all of your listings. You're able to set that up here, which means I only require minimum 1 hour showing for all of my listing. All of my listings has to be a maximum of 30 minutes showing duration. Sellers or contacts to confirm. What information do you want to include in here? You're also able to add another agent to manage any request that comes on your property. So let's say you're going on vacation and you want to add another agent onto your listing, you're able to do that right here by going add contact. You can select agent right here, and you can add that agent. Of course, because this agent will be acting on behalf of you while you are not around potentially, you want to go ahead and make sure that they have all the notifications set up for them. So they're getting notification when it's requested. They're getting all of those notifications. You also want them to be able to confirm, deny, or suggest a soft, allow this contact to soft suggest time if need be. So we're going to go ahead and save this agent as they've been added. You would have the option to select if they should be added to only new listings or both existing and old and new listing. In this case, we're going to select existing and new listing. Going on. Perfect. As you can see here, I've added this agent onto my listings, which means they would be representing all of my listings that have been configured. If for some reason, I'm back from vacation and I do want to remove this agent because I no longer need them to service my listings anymore, I can easily go in here, edit, and then delete that contact right here. And I can apply these changes to all existing listings just as I did when I was setting them up. Perfect. So as you can see, this allows you to be able to create a default showing configuration without having to go to all of your listings and include 1 hour, 30 minutes. But again, something to note is that you will still need to go into all of your listings to only add your access instructions based on how you want that property to be viewed. Okay. We also have calendar sync in here. This is how you can sync your calendar. You can customize what you are syncing your calendar to and whether or not you want it to be marked as busy in your calendar. So do you want to automatically sync pending and confirmed by a showing? You can turn that on. Do you want to automatically sync pending and confirmed showing? You can also turn that on. And do you want it to be set as busy in your calendar, which means your calendar is already set up for you. You don't need to go in and block off your time or a particular time that you have a showing. You don't need to do that anymore. You can just set that up here based off of your preference. Okay, we're going to go ahead and save. Perfect. Okay, so that has been saved. The next thing we're going to look at is how to set up feedback survey and also communication to other agents. How do you receive feedback, or how do you want to receive a feedback from your other agents? In order to do that, we're going to also click right here, top right corner, template manager, right here. Perfect. This is a full space for you to create customized communication for your listing. So if you want to create like a feedback survey, as I've said earlier, you can easily go in here, create templates, create a feedback survey right here. You can name the template, let's say House 51 feedback. And you can select what type of information you want your clients to answer. So in this case, we already have some pre-generated information here, which of course you can either delete or edit based on your preference. But questions like, is your client interested? How do you feel about the price? This is how you can sort of set up feedback for your listing. You can also set it up as a checkbox if you want it to be checked. You can set it up as a drop down if you want them to have those informations right here. Another thing you can do is you can also create feedback requests. So, okay, let's go. So let's say you want to create a feedback request. Instead of asking them questions like, do you like the property? You just want to know what their feedback is. You can easily also create this House 51 feedback survey. And you can, we already have pre-generated informations right here. You can edit it as much as however you want. Another cool thing is that because you don't want to have to write the name of your showing agent every time you're sending this. We have pre-generated prompts right here. So if the showing agent was to receive this email, it would say their first name. It would thank them for showing the properties address. It will give the date right here, and you would have a quick link to be able to drop your feedback if need be. Again, we're going to go back out. You're also able to use this template manager to send message to your showing agents. So if you want to send a message to showing agents, you can say house 51 showing agents message. And you can go in here, as I've said earlier, you can do hi and just drag and drop to be able to create that. And that way you're not having to write their first name out, write their last name out, or go into so much details because we have this pre-generated text already set up for you in your dashboard. Okay, I'm going to go back out to your dashboard in here. I know this was a lot of information, but this is sort of how you as an agent can, again, going through Flex MLS to claim your account. All of your listings are originally automatically pulled in, so you do not have to pull your listing in. This is how you can sort of set up a configuration for your listings, as well as how you can set up default configuration to apply to all of your listings. This is how you can set up your template manager. And this is how sort of you can add contacts and suppliers or see all of the information or all of the agents' information in your brokerage. Okay, perfect. So this is all of the information that I have today. As I've said earlier, this session is recorded, so you will be getting an email sent to you tomorrow with the link of this recording. If for some reason you were not able to attend, you would also be getting you will be getting that link sent to you as well. I think I have a message in here. Just one sec. Is anyone seeing only? Is anyone only seeing closed listing and no active listing? Well, for this case, this is a test account, and I am sort of like using a test account to explain this for you. But if you have any issues on your dashboard and you're only seeing listings that are not yours, please reach out to us so that I can go in to look into that for you. But as I've said earlier, this account as you see here, they are all demo accounts, and all of these listings are created for the purpose of training. So the goal of this training is for you to be able to go into your dashboard, see if you can replicate this information that you've been given, and then let us know if you run into any issues or any concerns at all. Okay. Any more questions before we round up? Okay. No questions. I'm just gonna hang around for a few more minutes. If you have any questions, you can still leave it in the dashboard in the Q&A. Thank you, Curtis, for sitting in on the Q&A for me. All right. If there's no more questions, you can always drop off, but I will still be in for a few more minutes, just checking those questions and making sure that I am answering any questions that you have before we end the session. Okay. Thank you so much for joining you all. I will go ahead. Oh, I have a question. One sec. Is the service free through Flex MLS? Yeah, so you're logging in based off of the information that we've gotten from your MLS, which is Conejo Simi. So if you're going into Flex MLS right now, you should be able to click into it. The service is at no cost to you, obviously, because it's already set up from the back end. You're not typically paying anything for it. You're just going in, clicking Broker Bay, and you're accessing BrokerBay through Flex MLS. And from there, once you've claimed your account, you would be redirected to the BrokerBay dashboard right here. So again, it's not the service is not free or free. You don't have to make any payment. You just have to go to Flex MLS, log in with your details, sign on, go to BrokerBay and set up your account. Okay. Thank you so much for joining today. Again, you get an email with the recording of this training. I hope you'll have a great day. Stay safe and bye.